Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to manflowyoga. In this video, I'll be showing you self-myofascial release techniques for plantar fasciitis or plantar heel pain. So I'm going to show you some tools or some techniques using lacrosse balls, using mobility tools like foam rollers to help you work on the mobility of the ankles, the feet, and the lower legs. That's going to help with addressing plantar fasciitis pain. So if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like the video, leave a comment if you have a question, and be sure to check out manflowyoga.com if you're looking for more content like this. We also have a full blog on plantar fasciitis at the link below. All right, here we go. So I'm going to show you a few techniques using both lacrosse balls and foam rollers that will help to address restricted muscle tissue, both on the soles of your feet, so on the plantar fascia itself, and then also on the muscles in your shins and on the back of your lower legs, so your calves or your gastrocnemius, your soleus muscle, which works with your calf, and then also the anterior tibialis, which is the muscle in the front of your shin. So we'll be working on all of those to help with loosening up the muscles in the ankle, loosening the load or reducing the load on the plantar fascia, which is overburdened right now, and help with getting rid of that pain. So here we go. First thing is we're going to use a little lacrosse ball first. So for the lacrosse ball, the easiest technique is rolling over the sole of your foot on the lacrosse ball and just going like this. And if you're new to this, you're going to want to use a wall to kind of support yourself so you don't have to put the full weight of your body on that ball. By the way, you can also use a tennis ball if you don't have a lacrosse ball, or even a golf ball if you're really sadistic and you want to, and you really want a lot of tension. And then as it becomes more comfortable, you can start to put more weight onto that ball. And just notice that I'm moving very slowly here. A lot of people tend to go like this really fast when they're told to massage the soles of their feet. And it's actually a lot better if you go slowly and kind of think about exploring your foot as you're doing this. You don't need to do this for too long. 60 seconds per side is fine. And then when you're done, make sure you switch sides. So that's one technique. Another technique that we can use is using the lacrosse ball with a block and going for some other parts of the body. So we can put the lacrosse ball on top of a block and we can work on your calves directly. So you can start like you see me doing here, just calf directly on top of the lacrosse ball, moving around. And we use the block so we don't have to worry about the ground getting in the way. And then if this is enough pressure, we can stack your feet, woo, and that makes it a lot more intense. And that's actually kind of too intense for me right now, so I'm not going to actually lift my hips off the ground. Just adding stacking the ankle on top of the other ankle should be enough for you. And you want to go all the way down toward where the Achilles tendon ends. So notice that I'm pretty low down on my calf. I'm not just, in the meaty part of my calf, but I'm actually going down lower toward where my Achilles tendon begins. So that's part of it. And then we also want to get the soleus muscle, and this is kind of on the inside of your shin. So for that, you're just going to turn your leg a little bit, and we're going to massage just a different part of that area, just like this. So you can roll on it like you see me doing here if you want more pressure, stack the leg on top. And then if you want, you can also just push the lacrosse ball directly into that area. So just sit, in a comfortable position, put the ball right there, just on the inside of the shin, and you're gonna just kind of knead this out like this. And this can be really intense. All of this can be really intense. But this is another technique that you can use. And it's not quite as much, it's a little bit easier to be more precise with this technique as opposed to rolling on the ball. But this is something else that you can do. And again, you're going to want to make sure that you go both sides here. So just you can kind of see, again, using the little lacrosse ball, rolling just to the inside of my shin bone. And that's helping with targeting my soleus, which is the other big muscle in the lower part of your leg next to, or working with the gastrocnemius or your calf. And then lastly, what we can do here is work on your anterior tibialis, and that's the muscle in the front of your shin. So with the lacrosse ball, one way to do this is to put the lacrosse ball just directly on the shin, not the inside of the shin here, but there's actually a muscle on the outside of the shin, and that's what we're going to be targeting here. So you're going to put the lacrosse ball underneath that, and you're just rolling from pretty much almost all the way up to the knee. Don't go to the bone, but that muscle does go almost all the way up to the knee, so you can roll on that like you see me doing here. You might have to play around with your positioning until you find the right, the right spot. Just keep that in mind. There is probably a learning curve, but this is also helpful. And we want to make sure that we're doing that on both sides. And you don't need to do any longer than 60 seconds per side. In fact, I wouldn't do much longer than that, because then you're just going to be really, really sore the next day and you won't be able to work out for a couple of days. So try to spend just 60 seconds, make some noticeable improvements, but you're not going to completely transform your ankles in one day. So those are your lacrosse ball techniques. And now we're going to go on to foam roller techniques. I actually don't have a foam roller with me, but a PVC pipe is a very more intense, that's not English, a much more intense foam roller alternative that you can use, and that's just what I have. I also have a Knotout, which is nice because of the balls. Just make it so that you can target a little bit differently as opposed to a foam roller, which is more uniform. But if you have a foam roller, that's what you're using here. I just don't happen to have one with me. So first thing we can do is actually the same thing that we did before with the ball, is rolling over your foot. So we can start just gently rolling over your foot like you see me doing here. You can kind of turn your foot to the outside, turn it to the inside if you want to target one area of the plantar fascia more than another. And then again, 30 to 60 seconds here. You don't need to do both the lacrosse ball and the foam roller at the same time. The foam roller is typically less intense than the lacrosse ball, so you might want to choose to do one or the other depending on how you're feeling that day. All right, so that's technique number one. Technique number two, we're going back to the calf and the soleus work that we did before. So you're going to start just rolling like this without stacking the leg. And then to make that more intense, we can stack the leg. If you want it even more intense, lift your hips off the ground. Just be careful. If you have a shoulder injury, I would not recommend lifting your hips off the ground. Your body doesn't argue with you. Even if your shoulder's injured and you're like, but I'm not really doing a shoulder exercise, your shoulder's still going to be pissed off. So take it from me, personal experience. Don't lift your hips off the ground if your shoulders are injured. All right, so there's your other alternative. And then again, we also want to go to the inside. So I'm turning my foot to the inside, and that way I'm able to target the soleus a little bit more with the roller. And then lastly, I don't know how this is going to feel. With a foam roller, it's going to feel fine. I haven't actually done this on a PVC pipe. But we're going to target your anterior tibialis. And again, that's that muscle to the outside of your shin. So we're going to be going kind of just above the ankle to just below the knee, making sure that we don't go up near that bone. So like this. Just rolling over. And one really big and important thing that I forgot to mention that you want to keep in mind as you're doing this is breathing. So you want to make sure that you're really breathing in and out of your nose, really slow and controlled, and trying to release into the tension. Okay, so don't shy away from it because that's going to prevent it from working. You really want to work on relaxing and kind of breathing into the tension. Right, so we're relaxing ourselves into that ball or into the foam roller or whatever it is we're using. And that's going to help with providing the most noticeable results. So that's it. So we've got the foam roller techniques, the lacrosse ball techniques. Be sure to check out the full blog for more exercises for plantar fasciitis. I have 2 videos in addition to this one. The first is on kind of basic exercises to help strengthen your ankles and your hips to address root causes of plantar fasciitis. And the second video is the best yoga postures to work on plantar fasciitis, but also technique explained in a way that's most beneficial for addressing plantar fasciitis rather than addressing, all the other aspects of the posture, really focusing on how it can help with plantar fasciitis. The link for that blog is in the description here. So if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video if you found it useful. Leave a comment if you have a question. If you're watching this in the members area, thank you for being part of the Man-Flow Yoga community. And if you're watching this on the blog or somewhere else and you're wanting more of this, go to manflowyoga.com/intro for my free 7-day intro to get started, to learn more about how yoga can help to improve your fitness and live a healthier lifestyle. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the video. Details on this equipment will also be in the description, and I'll see you guys on the next one.